Welcome to Still In It, a 5-MeO DMT Journeys podcast, where I talk to real people about their 5-MeO experience. Our goal is to bring you honest and diverse perspectives about what this medicine is all about. I'm your host, Jessie, and I'm excited to have you along for the ride. So hop in and enjoy as we discuss what preparation, ceremony, and integration look like. This podcast is sponsored by Enfold, offering safe and sacred experiences in British Columbia. To learn more, visit enfold.org. That is enfold.org. Or click the link in the show notes. And now, without further ado, I hope you enjoy today's episode. Hello, and welcome to the pod. We have a wonderful guest named Emmy, who also is a hypnotherapist.
Hello.
And yeah, thank you for coming. We start off every podcast the same way. And the question is what called you to the medicine? What called you to come to Enfold?
Yeah, so I was actually called to the medicine. I do a lot of research for my work. I've done plant medicine since the 80s when I was in college. And as doing research for a client, actually, to find ways to help a client of mine, I ran across 5-MeO DMT and got very interested in it and started doing research on it. And I found Enfold and really, I'm pretty picky about where I go and how I do plant medicine, always in a therapeutic format. So I loved everything that Stephen Austin had to say and all the videos they put out. It felt like a really comfortable, safe place to do the medicine. So I was called to it personally to really further advance my connection with the spiritual side of my nature. I've always been really interested. I'm a Buddhist, and I just find that it really helps open doors to a greater awareness of who I am.
Beautiful. Do you mind if I ask what you were researching for your client that led you to 5-MeO DMT and what you heard about 5-MeO? Maybe not why you came, but the research that you were seeing.
Yeah, I think one of the hardest things therapeutically, I've been in the therapy field for 25 years, and having been a traditional therapist, talk therapist, cognitive behavioral therapist, now a hypnotherapist, one of the hardest things I think blocks for people is they so identify with their personality, their behaviors, their ego part of themselves. And what really drew me to 5 is it really dissolves that completely. Whereas other plant medicines, that doesn't really happen. You have experiences, but you're aware that you are this person that is experiencing these things. And so with clients that have a really hard time being able to find the witness part of themselves, where they can watch what they're doing and not identify with it, is really helpful to be able to really resolve traumas and things that happen for people that really get stuck in the subconscious. So that's what drew me to this particular medicine.
Yeah. Before we even hop into 5-MeO DMT and your experience and all
Yeah.
that, I'm kind of curious, just so it says it sounded like you were an actual therapist. I don't mean it in that way, but a traditional psychotherapist who did very traditional treatment modalities. How did you get into hypnotherapy?
Yeah, really interesting. I was actually at an American Psychological Association conference,
Mhm.
and I had some issues that after being a therapist myself and having done therapy for half of my life, that I couldn't deal with. I had a lot of trauma early in life, and it just wasn't changing. The same things would happen, same in my practice. I would see the same clients for years sometimes, and I was frustrated. And I was talking to a hypnotherapist, happened to be there, and he's like, okay, come try it. I had no idea. I was really skeptical because I'm very analytical, and back then it wasn't quite as well known as it is now. And I did. I worked with him for a period of about 6 weeks, had profound changes, and then went back and studied with him in Chicago. And I have never done anything but hypnotherapy with all of my clients since then, over the last 15 years.
That's amazing. Do you find that
kind of similar to CBT. There's like there's only a short term amount of time you're really supposed to be seeing a patient, versus like other typical like treatment modalities where it can kind of go on forever, where the whole talk therapy doesn't work aspect is coming into
Exactly.
play. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
exactly. And hypnosis is a very short-term therapy. My typical range with clients is 5 to 10 sessions, but usually it's 5 to 6, even with severe stuff going on. And with plant medicine, people that have done plant medicine, it's even less. I mean, 5 or less sessions. It's
Yeah.
really quick because we can get to the root so much faster than we can cognitively because we're going
Yeah.
deeper into the subconscious.
That's incredible. I mean, we'll put your information in the description box for anybody that's interested. But do you want to give like a high level overview of like what hypnotherapy is? Like if that's appropriate for
Yeah,
this
yeah.
moment?
Basically, a lot of people have misconceptions about what it is because they think of it as stage hypnosis, where people get up on stage and quack like a duck or something like that, which is real hypnosis actually, but it's very different. And those people are screened, sent back to their seats. The ones are kept up that want to be the focus of attention, right? Hypnotherapy can't make you do anything you don't want to do. What clinical hypnosis, which is what I do with a background in psychology, which is different from just a hypnotherapist or hypnosis, is we really get a brainwave state of focused attention and deep relaxation. And what that does is it relaxes the critical factor part of the mind, which doesn't like to let new information in or get to really old information because it's afraid. But when you're in this relaxed state, so your sympathetic nervous system, fight flight, is relaxed, you're able to get to that part. But you're fully aware, awake the whole time. You remember the session. It's none of the kind of misperceptions that people think about hypnosis. It's just a very relaxed state. You can't be traumatized by going back to trauma because your sympathetic nervous system is relaxed in that state. So it's a great conducive state to work with things that need to be updated and changed from the past.
I can see this both as a wonderful like stepping stone for anybody who wants to like try something other than talk therapy and maybe doesn't want to yet dabble in psychedelics, totally like a
Yes,
demographic that
absolutely.
can be served.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
also even as an integration like therapist, like something to like even working before and after somebody's major psychedelic event.
Yes, for sure. It's so important because what I find with people that have done psychedelics a lot of times is they get these great insights and they're like, wow, now I understand why this was this and this happened. And I know that there's something more to me, but they don't know how to take that and then put it into practical things they can change in their
Mhm.
life to then act in a different way in their day-to-day lives. And that's what I do, is help to bridge those two things together so it doesn't just fade away as this experience that I had a year ago and now I can barely connect with it anymore.
Wow, okay. Okay, that's actually incredible. I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Me myself. Um,
Yeah.
That's so cool. Okay. Let's bring it back to you a little bit. So you
Yes.
mentioned you were coming to for your own personal reasons for more connection to your spiritual nature and you found that it opened some doors by using psychedelics. How was your experience both with Enfold, if you want to talk about that, and with the actual medicine 5-MeO DMT?
Yeah, yeah. So I actually did the medicine for the first time almost a year ago in Mexico at Tendava. That was my first experience with it. And my purpose then was really spiritual. It was that even though I've been Buddhist, I've been really into spirituality for a long time and done all this inner work, I had a doubt about, is the universe really benevolent? I still questioned, like, is that really true that there is this all goodness out there that is there? And so I went in the first time with the intention, I want to know the answer to this. Is it really true, or is that just something we want to believe in, whether it's God or this good love, light energy that people talk about, all that. And I'd had glimpses of it in meditation retreats and things like that, but it didn't last very long. So I wanted to explore that, and I got that absolutely got that there. I mean, it was the total experience that I think a lot of people think is the only experience in five, which it isn't, as we know. But I got that whole love, light. I mean, just, oh yeah, this is there. And I believed it. Like it was such a felt sense because unlike other plant medicines for me, um, it was undeniable because it's so energetic and such a felt thing. There was no way anymore since that experience I could deny that that was true. So that was amazing. And then I came to Enfold, and my intention there was really open because I was kind of like, God, I got this great experience, I loved it. Now I'm open to anything. If there is anything that needs to happen, anything else I need to experience, I'm just open to whatever happens. So with my experience at Enfold, it was a little different. It was definitely a more challenging experience. I did not immediately go into that love light space. I went more into an experience of that I have dabbled in a little bit with some other plant medicines where I've felt for a long time that I carry the weight of the world. Like I'm responsible for all the pain of the world and I'm carrying it for everyone. So it was really an experience, a very felt experience where I've had psilocybin experiences like that where yeah, it was a tripping kind of seeing experience of that, but never felt it. Felt it so deeply, like, no, this is not, I can't carry this anymore. And what was so helpful of that for me was to recognize that still in my work, I try to do that for people sometimes, you know, I
Mm-hmm.
try to carry their pain for them when they're not able to handle it instead of, you know, teaching them more how to handle it. Sometimes I take some of that on myself and it makes it much harder for me to do the work that I need to do with them because I absorb it and then I take it on and then I'm very focused on I'm changing this. I got to figure out how to change this for this person when that's not my responsibility. It really is theirs. And that's what hypnotherapy is about. It's using the power of your own mind to shift and change your experience, just like I think plant medicine is, and especially five.
I think that's so wonderful. You have that awareness, and obviously, not all therapists, I'm sure, feel this way. And I'm just like now, just like kind of reaching out there and thinking that maybe, but like a lot of people hold a lot of their self validation through helping people, right? And part of
Yeah.
it is like the therapeutic alliance, and part of that is if you know that it's not yours to like carry or fix, but in order just like let them feel self reliant, it almost allows
Yes.
you to then like almost loosen the hold so that when it is time for them to go, they don't feel this weird um, reliance or attachment that needs them to stay longer, right?
Yes.
And
It's
it doesn't
so
mean anything to
true.
you either, right?
Yeah, and that's what I loved about hypnotherapy so much more than traditional therapy because it really is very short term. And what I do is teach them self hypnosis and ways to get to that part of themselves that is the wise part to help. But I was still taking on
Mm-hmm.
feelings of, um, oh, did I do the right thing? Did I use the right technique because sometimes people just aren't ready or maybe they don't get that transformation just like in plant medicine, right? And I was still trying to hold the disappointment really in myself,
Mm-hmm.
I guess more is what it was, that oh, I can't help every single person in 5 to 10 sessions to be completely aware and be able to heal themselves now. So I knew I really didn't get trapped in that I'm going to help them and they need me to help. I never liked that part of traditional therapy
Mm-hmm.
and that therapeutic relationship blank slate stuff. But it really helped me to realize, no, this is part of their journey, you know, and allowed me to be more free with my techniques that I use instead of being so um, you know, judging of myself and the techniques because they maybe didn't get the result right away that I wanted them to get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's wonderful. So what's like so you said your first time you did 5-MeO DMT at Tandava, you accessed that state of like pure bliss, love, and then you had a little bit of a challenging experience, or I don't want to say little, those feelings are very heavy.
Yes.
um,
Yes.
that is a very hard thing to hold on to.
Yeah.
And work through. What's bubbling for you now as you go through integration? I guess first, when did you come to Enfold so that people have an
So
idea of
I
how
I
far
came to
along?
Enfold in May of this year.
Okay,
So
perfect.
May of 24.
Yes, and
Yeah.
right as we are recording this, it's August.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess 3 months. Yeah, 3 months.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
about 3
Okay.
months. Yeah. Yeah.
So what came up for you post retreat, and what are you working through now? Because I mean, I would still say that you're still like in the integration phase.
Yeah. So interesting for me, right after the cool part about Enfold that I have to say that I think is so important, because I know a lot of people and even clients that have done this medicine just at someone's private home or with someone leading them or whatever. But what I love about Steve and Austin is it's not just the 5-MeO experience. They give you a whole container, and the breath work was incredible for me, because whereas the medicine, as a matter of fact, I didn't I didn't take as much of the medicine at Enfold as I did at Tendava, because at Tendava I started high dose. I didn't start low dose. I started high dose, and then the next day did some lower doses. Whereas at Enfold, I started with the low doses, and um, it really brought out, I think, more of the, because I had my ego still so present, it brought out more of the challenging experience. So after that, what first came up for me in the days that followed, not with the breath work and the sauna experience, all that was amazing. But with the experience itself was like, okay, I don't need to do this anymore. Like this, I'm done with this medicine. Wasn't that great? Wasn't that pleasant? I don't want to do this particular medicine anymore, because why do I want to do it? It was kind of an icky experience. It was really felt negative. And at some point in the experience, I think I only did it twice, and neither was a full dose. And I was just like, I'm done, done, don't want to do it anymore. And so in processing that, what I think I realized was, that I said I was open to any experience. And I think it was so important for me to not be one of these people that goes, especially in helping other people with experiences, oh, it's such an amazing experience. Because that's how I was after the first one. I was like, oh my God, everybody wants to say, everyone should do this. It's the most amazing thing, because you're all going to know what love and light and who you really are and all this amazing stuff. And I was like, I needed to see that, no, that's not all you need to know. Like there can be some really challenging aspects that come up that are awesome to work with. And that's what I did after the experience. I worked myself using my own therapeutic processes and self hypnosis and all of those kind of things to really work with those things. And that's where I really found that gem of how there's still a part of me that wants to make sure I get the absolute best result for people in whatever way. Get them to see it, get them to, get them to really heal in this short a period of time, even if it is coming from them. And it really helped me to realize, no, I mean, a challenging experience is just as valuable
Mm,
as a great experience. I mean, it's all stuff to be able to work with to further your journey. So,
100%. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like we're open to all experiences and all facets of life, but it's like, but I prefer the nicer
Yeah,
one.
exactly. Except the bad ones, except the ones we label as bad.
Yeah,
And the good
exactly.
thing about that is learning that is so important, because we all are going to have many, many, many bad experiences in life. And the whole point is being able to embrace those experiences instead of fight them, which allows you to go through them
Hmm.
instead of continue to fight with them for a long period of time. And I really feel like that's what I was able to do with that experience.
Yeah, I think like hard or challenging experiences, whether it's psychedelic or like sober, are like a gift in a way. It allows you to like experience things and move through it and grow. And I find that a lot of growth happens both in positive and negative experiences.
Yes.
But it you do feel like this like self-determination or motivation and like resilience when you can go through something hard and you're like, damn, like I got it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Then I'm curious, what made you, I mean, other than wanting to explore the spiritual nature a bit more, you did 5-MeO the first time. Like, what was your like major call the second time? Just explore further?
Yeah, it really wasn't mine. I have to admit, it was not my intention. I would not have done it that soon, but my partner and a really close friend of mine that had never done it, but I had done ayahuasca with her and psilocybin and some other things with her. She really wanted to try it, but she was petrified and wanted me to go with her.
I
And so
see.
that was really why I did it again that soon,
Yeah.
and then was just like, okay, whatever. I'll just be totally open to whatever happens then.
Yeah. Funny that it also, you felt afterwards like you're carrying on other things. It's like, okay, maybe now you realize like until I feel the call, it's not my
Yes.
responsibility to, yeah. Even though I'm
Right.
sure it was
That's
a
a really
beautiful,
good point. Yeah, to
yeah.
do it for someone else, which is my MO, right?
Yeah.
I'm always wanting to help others and do things for other people before myself, even though I know and preach to my clients all the time, you have to help yourself first before you can
Yeah.
really help, and it's just, yeah, understanding that, yeah, maybe the reason wasn't quite there for me yet at that time.
Yeah, I try to let like any guests know if they're wanting to come, like you have to feel a deep call, and that call feels differently for different people, but it's a knowing. It's like I am
Yes.
ready for this. Whatever the reason is, it's like you just know. It's a
Yeah.
knowing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I
there's always
think that's really
anxiety.
important. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also harder, I think, when you've already done it. Like when you do it, like I did, and had a really unbelievable experience, to not have expectations. And I was really conscious of that. I was like, I'm not expecting it to be the same because I know it's
Mhm.
not always the same, but I mean, you still have it.
Of course, yeah.
You can't totally get rid of those expectations of, okay, I'm going to have that feeling again. So of course, when you have that, I think it's a little harder to surrender into when it's not that.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, expectations, you're only human. We all
Yeah.
like, as much as we
Right.
try to like taper expectations or like whatnot, it's still there. Like you have the
Yeah.
framework already in your head of like what it was going to feel like, and anything
Yes.
outside of that would feel like, oh, that
Yeah,
was different.
exactly. Right. Yeah.
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 The other thing I want to touch on, because you mentioned reactivations in your first one and not in your second
Yes.
one, there's two schools of thought there. Just for our listeners, the first time you do 5-MeO DMT, it's very normal. You'll feel physical reactions. Also, the higher the dose you get, the more physical reactions you have. So if you stopped at lower doses, um,
Yes.
in a way, you didn't get that full like release afterwards, and there's like
Exactly.
a thought that maybe there was something still stuck in you working its way through, and maybe that's more where the mental part came up for you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What would you want like guests to know, or anybody who's like thinking about doing a 5-MeO ceremony with Enfold or not, or looking to embark on like this psychedelic adventure with 5-MeO DMT? Is there any advice you would give for them?
I think the most important thing really that comes up for me for people is, don't expect this to be your miracle cure. Don't expect to just go do medicine and everything's going to be different afterwards, and you're going to be different. Your life is going to be different, and it's going to be this whole amazing thing. And it could be a totally amazing experience. But I think what people don't understand is it still requires you to take action afterwards.
Yeah.
Integrate the things that you learned and actually bring them into your life to change the things you want to change, because otherwise it really does fade away. The experience will fade. You won't remember all that you remember right after the experience, and all of that will fade away, and it's so easy to slip back into your familiar patterns, habits, behaviors, and go right back to how you were before.
Yeah. No, that's great advice. Is
Yeah.
there anything else that you just would like to let listeners know or anything before we begin to wrap up? Like, is there like something on top of your mind that you're like, oh, I wish I also mentioned this?
um
And no is also okay.
I think the only thing is that, um, I think it's so, so important for people to be aware of how powerful these medicines are, and to not take it lightly, and not do it in a way that is not a really good process with people that you can really trust, that are really holding, I mean, all that stuff we hear about set and setting and the whole container, but it's the same in therapy. It's really important. You can go to therapy with a bad therapist for many, many years and come out worse than you were before. And the same thing can happen with plant medicine. Like, you really have to know and do the research to know that you're in a safe place and people know what they're doing, and this is really going to be an experience that is well contained, I think.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
That's so like, yeah, even like you're in a place of vulnerability. Like that's like
Yes.
paralleling like therapy. Like you just naturally as a client when you come in, it's a place of vulnerability. Like there is some sort of inherent power dynamics. You're trusting the facilitator or the therapist
Yes.
knows what they're doing and they do hopefully have your best interest at heart no matter what.
Right. Yes.
But yeah, like especially when it comes to mind altering substances, there are things that could go awry, and part of it is just like
Yeah.
making sure that they know what they're doing and they know enough about you. So like never lie in an intake. Like if you're taking
Yes.
a psychiatric medication, share that because there could be contraindications that come up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So important.
Wow. Well, this
Yeah.
has been really insightful because there's so much about like
Good.
hypnosis that I think has been like similar to psychedelics has the wrong counterculture or like the idea
Yes.
about it.
Exactly.
And like it can be beneficial for people if people were to like open their mind up to it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Really beneficial.
Thanks for listening to the Still In It podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you're interested in hearing more, the best thing you could do is to leave us a review. This allows us to continue to record and inform others on the 5MEO experience. If you want to join our beloved community or learn more about us, feel free to visit us at enfold.org. That is enfold.org.